Hey everyone, it's Heather with the Potomac Bead Company. Today I'm going to show you how to make our Christmas wreath earrings. This is a half wreath. There are some wreaths, beaded wreaths that you could actually do a double-sided, but I'm only doing a half wreath. It's very easy, it's very simple, and they're so pretty. I use Swarovski crystals for this project, and pretty much you can vary your colors if you want, but I chose red for the berries and green for the wreath portion, or the green portion of your wreath. What you'll need for this project is you'll need about 24mm Swarovski crystals or bicones. Either one will work. And if you have rounds, they work as well. I just like the fit of the Swarovski crystals with the delicas. Kind of gives it a nice crisp pop look. And I also use some Delica seed beads in size 11O, and the color that I used for this is an emerald. You'll also need a pair of ear wires. For this project I use stainless steel. And you'll need a size 10 or 12 beading needle and some Fireline or Wildfire thread. 0.006 pound is the size that I used, and you're going to probably need a couple of feet of that. I used black for this color. So go ahead and gather your materials, and I will start this project with you. Now that I've gotten my needle on my thread, I'm ready to start my project. What I'm going to do is pick up a 4mm crystal 11O Delica, a 4mm crystal, and a Delica. 4mm crystal and a Delica, a crystal, and a Delica. And this is the pattern for the inner portion of your wreath. And right now I only have four of each, and what I want is actually, I want 10. So I'm going to keep doing this until I get 10. And then what you're going to do is actually string it around, and you're going to create a circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm almost there. 9, 10. And you can use crystals or bicones and rounds, like I said. I really like the cut of the bicones and the delicas together. So now that I've got all 10 of my crystals and 10 of my delicas, and with about 6 inches of a tail, I'm going to take my needle back up through the first couple of beads to bring the project around. And I'm going to hold my crystals in place so I'm not pulling both sides of my thread. And then I'm just going to pull my thread. What I can also do is, at this point, take my needle through a couple more of the crystals and my delicas so that my project is just a little bit secure, and it's a little tight, and it's not gonna flop around for me during my project. So I think I went halfway through my wreath here. And see, there's my tail. Now, with my thread coming out of a Delica, at this point I'm going to pick up 5 Delicas. 5. And I'm going to skip a Swarovski crystal, and I'm going to take my needle through the next Delica that I have here. And I'm going to pull. And it's just actually creating just a little, you can see this portion up here, your little V portion. That's going to help bridge the outer and the inner portion of your wreath. So now I'm going to pick up 5 of my delicas, and I'm going to repeat the same thing. Skip my crystal and take my needle through the next delica in between my 2 crystals. And I'm just going to pull. Make it nice and tight. And it's getting kind of floppy here, but the further I get into my project, the easier it will be. So I'm going to pick up 5 delicas, skip a crystal, and then take my needle through the next delica. And pull. And I actually am going to pull on both sides of my thread just to create that tautness. I'm going to pick up 5 delicas, skip the crystal that's sitting in place, and then take my needle through the next delica in between the 2 crystals. And I'm going to pull snugly. And you're actually going to repeat this process all the way around your inner portion of your wreath. So now that I've completed the inner round of my delicas, as you can see, my thread is coming out of the very first delica we started, and it's coming out of that delica. And what I want to do is actually get my needle and thread up to this portion. So what you're going to do is take your needle up through, if you can see my thread, I'm going to kind of hold it up close here. Take your needle up through only 3 delicas, so that your project is, you're now going to work on your outer loop, your outer wreath. And at this point you're going to pick up a delica, pick up a crystal, and then pick up another delica. And you're going to take your needle through the next middle delica over the crystal laying on top. So if you actually want to count, it's actually that 3rd delica in that row. So it's the middle delica out of the 5 that you added. I'm going to do it one more time, a couple more times for you. Pick up a delica, a crystal, and a delica, and then take your needle through that middle, that 3rd delica out of the 5 that you added. And just kind of pull. And then you're going to do that one more time. A delica, a crystal, and a delica. And from the middle delica here, if you count 1, 2, 3, that's your 3rd delica, or the 3rd out of the 5 that you added. Take your needle through that and pull. And then you're going to continue that to complete your outer portion of your wreath. And I'm going to show you how to add on your ear wire. Okay, now that I've completed the outer layer of my wreath, you can see that my thread is coming out of a crystal, and I want to attach my ear wire. And to do that, what I want to do first is take my needle through a couple of my delicas. And I'm going to take it through just the first 2 delicas in that row. And I'm going to pull tight just a little bit. And what I like to do is actually create a little loop or security for my ear wire. So I'm going to add 3 of my delicas, and then I'm going to take my ear wire and kind of drop that down. And then I'm going to add 3 more of my delicas. And then what I'm going to do is take my needle back through that 2nd delica in the middle, that middle delica here. I'm just going to take my needle through that 11-0 seed bead. If it will let me. And I'm going to pull. And it kind of sits nicely just like that. And at this point I'm going to reinforce the loop that I just created, because I don't want a floppy earring hold. I'm just going to take my needle and thread and kind of just, just thread it through the delicas that I had. And then also after I'm done with that, at this point you're going to take your needle and thread and reinforce, if you want, the entire outer portion of your wreath, and tie off your thread. And then you're going to do the same thing to your tail, and then zap it off. Add a little bit of glue to your knots if you want to, and that is pretty much your project for your Christmas wreaths earring. And I hope you had fun making it. It's fairly simple and it's fun, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask and one of us will answer. And thanks for watching this video. Check us out on Facebook and our other videos on YouTube, and hopefully one day we'll see you in the store. Thanks for watching.